I've got a tough topic to unpack today, but also a chance to talk about how we remember and celebrate people who shape us. So, let's dive in with a script that feels like a creator thinking aloud, reacting, analyzing, and pulling meaning from Mel Schilling's passing and what it means for fans, collaborators, and the broader world of reality TV. I'm starting with a core question. What does Mel's story tell us about courage, public life, and the fragile line between fame and humanity? Personally, I think it's a reminder that behind every perfectly curated TV moment there's a real person with an extraordinary amount of grit. What makes this really interesting is how her journey intersects with the realities of terminal illness in the spotlight, and how that exposure changes our perception of resilience itself. Let me set the context in a way that's less about a TV show and more about human experience. Mel Schilling, best known as a relationship coach on Married at First Sight, passed away at 54 after a long battle with cancer. The family statement depicts a moment of tenderness in her final days. She whispered a message to her husband and daughter in her last moments. From my perspective, that detail is not just sentimental. It reframes illness as a private, intimate experience that still exists inside a very public life. It's a counter-narrative to the usual glossy edit of reality television. As we unpack, I want to move beyond the headlines and look at several threads I think are crucial. First idea, the way Mel balanced a demanding on-screen role with personal health challenges. The news notes 16 rounds of chemotherapy and radiotherapy during filming, followed by stepping back from the show. What this reveals, in my opinion, is a deeper truth about endurance under pressure. If you take a step back and think about it, performing at a high level while facing aggressive cancer isn't just tough. It's a study in prioritization, where professional obligations collide with unimaginable personal limits. What this implies is that public figures, especially in reality TV, often carry a dual burden. They must keep showing up for the audience while managing something most people never see. A detail I find fascinating is how the production schedule adapts to someone's health, and how fans sometimes don't grasp the invisible labor that goes into that choice. Second idea, the role of mentoring and shaping conversations about relationships in a high-pressure format. Mel wasn't just a commentator. She was a matriarch figure on screen, and Channel 4 positioned her as a beacon of healthy relationship advocacy. From my point of view, this matters because it foregrounds accountability in reality TV. When a show leans into wellness and empathy, the audience starts to expect real guidance, not just drama. This raises a deeper question. How much responsibility should media creators bear when their platforms influence millions of real-life relationships? A detail many people don't realize is how her advocacy extended beyond TV into a broader ethos of compassion and empowerment for women. If you look at the tributes from colleagues and fans, you can sense that she left a blueprint for how to be powerful without being dismissive, how to lead with warmth while still challenging conventional dating norms. Third idea, the public grieving process and how a global audience processes loss in real time. The responses from fans and colleagues illustrate a kind of digital obituary culture, where tributes accumulate quickly and shape the memory of a public figure. What's interesting here is not just the sadness, but how communities find meaning in someone's life work. In my opinion, Mel's story invites reflection on how we celebrate heroes of entertainment, and what that celebration teaches younger audiences about resilience, vulnerability, and human connection. What this really suggests is that public mourning can become a shared ritual that strengthens community, but it also raises questions about the commodification of grief in a media ecosystem. Deeper insight, there's a larger pattern at play in contemporary television careers, the fusion of personal struggle with professional brand. Mel's arc, rising as a trusted advisor, enduring health hardship, and continuing to influence audiences, feels emblematic of a new normal. Visibility amplified by endurance and authenticity, but at a cost. What makes this compelling is observing how audiences recalibrate their sense of credibility when they learn about someone facing terminal illness. People often assume public figures are protected from pain. The reality is those experiences can deepen trust precisely because they break the glossy veneer. What this means for the industry is a push toward more humane storytelling without sacrificing entertainment value, a balance that will be tricky to maintain as audiences demand more frankness about personal struggles. Closing thought. As we remember Mel Schilling, I'm left with a question for viewers. how should we honor public figures who share both expertise and vulnerability? If we want to keep these conversations constructive, we should celebrate not only the bright moments but also the courage to show fragility and humanity. A concrete takeaway: support the families, individuals, and communities who are affected by health struggles, and consider how you can apply Mel's emphasis on empathy and resilience in your own relationships. What do you think the lasting impact of her work will be on how reality TV handles sensitive topics? Thank you for watching. If this sparked a thought, drop a comment with how you think public figures can better balance visibility and privacy when facing serious illness. And as always, subscribe for more deep dives that mix analysis with personal reflection, not just recaps.